Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing.
Turn it on.
Oh, it's there. Testing Jonas's intelligence. 1, 2, 3. Let's see. Stand by. On. 1, 2. Woo, woo, woo. Well, almost well begun is almost done. Hello, friends. Hello, hello. So nice to be here. Bruiser is not here today. He's home. He's home. Sandy and I are going on a short trip from here, so we left him with our daughter and son. They'll take care of him. Well, of course, one thought that crossed my mind was, well, if Reverend Brenda is leaving, could that mean that I won't be coming also? Because thank you. Thank you. I hope I get to come, because I love you all so much, and it's such a privilege to be with all of you. And Sandy, of course, is here, as she always is, just silently radiating her love and support for me. So about 10 days ago, I think it was Ruth contacted me, and she said, Jonas, we'd like a title and a short description of your talk. Now, what Ruth doesn't know is often I come up with the title of my talk on the drive up here. And that's just the way my mind works and my heart works. Maybe we could say what did we say, Spirit calls. So, but anyway, she asked for that. So I just said, okay, and she said, please make it intriguing. I think that was the word she used. Sandy would tell you that intrigue is not one of my strong points. So I said, okay, let's call it the 3-word key to peace of mind. Of course, the intrigue then was to figure out what those 3 words were. And I did have something in mind when I came up with it. When I mentioned the title to Sandy, she said, get a new husband. No, that's 4 words. That was 4 words. So I said, no, that doesn't qualify because it's 4 words. Anyway, and then I thought, what are some of the, did anybody wonder what 3 words Jonas was going to talk about this morning? Yes? Did you come up with a 3-word idea that you thought?
Surrender and acceptance.
Well, that's surrender and acceptance. 3 words. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, there are 3 kinds of people in the world. Those that are good at math and those that aren't. So, and by the way, this is stunning news. Beginning in August, I will be a full-time, half-time teacher of mathematics at Maharishi School in Fairfield. I'll be teaching 3 classes of math, which I love. At any rate, another one that came to me after I thought of the title was Get a Dog, because Bruiser brings so much comfort and love to our family. When, we have our autistic son, Jake, I'm not sure if you remember him, he lives a few blocks away, but whenever he comes into the house, it's like, hi, Mom and Dad, and then it's, where's the dog? So he can pet the dog. And we're pretty much the same way with one another, so we understand. So the title I came up with, the 3 words I came up with are let it go. Let it go. All suffering, I'm not referring to physical pain now, I'm referring to suffering. All suffering is self-inflicted. Now, that doesn't mean that if we've been abused in our lives, that others didn't create a situation where that suffering was, that response was, at least at that time, was completely natural. But what we have a tendency to do, I think one of the reasons we took birth is because we love the full range of human emotion. Joy, happiness. Why do people go, why have Shakespearean tragedies been so popular for over 400 years? Why do people go to watch a tragedy? Because they like their emotion. We like feeling angry. We like feeling to despise a villain. Those are all kinds of the range of human emotions. The problem is, when we go to a Shakespearean performance and we hiss and boo the villain, and generally speaking, he gets his, or generally it is a he, at the end, and then the show's over, and that's the end of our anger and our hatred. Then we go back to our lives. Unfortunately, we indulge in the same emotions in response to our real lives and the real world in which we live. And we get ourselves all worked up. You know what I mean? Sandy's nodding her head like this because I'm the reason she works herself up. But when I said all suffering was self-inflicted, she said, not in our case, I'm responsible. But anyway, so let's talk about let it go. And what does that mean? I am preparing to talk about this, and I had an experience of my own just about 3 days ago, maybe 4, where I got really triggered by something somebody said. What's the first thing we do when we get triggered? We want to engage with the world out there, right? We don't use it as an opportunity to explore the world in here. We want to engage with the world out there and show it what's that word? The error of its ways. We want to show the world the error of its ways. Now, speaking from experience, about 99% of the time, the world is not interested in us showing it the error of its ways. About 99% of the time. So what does that mean then for us? If we insist on showing the world the error of its ways and 99% of the time it's not interested, that means 99% of the time our suffering is just going to be exacerbated, right? It will just be increased because the world just doesn't understand why it needs to change, right? I know my beloved wife is still hoping for change. But meanwhile, and this is the key, this is the key, because I know some of you are saying, well, if we see injustice in the world, if we see children being torn away from their parents at our borders, does that mean we just should let it go? Let it go and let God? No, not exactly. Not exactly at all. What it means is, while we engage in the business of serving what we believe is truth in the world, we do have the choice of remaining at peace in the process of that service. There is nothing inherently angry about our relationship with the world. Nothing whatsoever. You know, I've told you many times that I'm Jewish and I still have high highest regard for Master Jesus. And one of the teachings, I just lost my thought. Not unusual. I can't remember. Yeah, well, we know first of all, I remember. I remember now. Thank you. Thank you, whoever sent me the thought. Thank you. Lord, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Now, in that example, Jesus was being crucified, nailed on the cross, experiencing unimaginable physical pain. And yet he said, Lord, forgive them, for they know not what they do. We've also heard the very, 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 very famous saying that we like to forget, which is, let he who has not sinned, or in a more politically correct version, let he or she who has not sinned cast the first stone. So how do we let go? The first thing is I want to say one more thing about the value of letting go before we go into the actual practice of it. Have you ever been extremely agitated? I know if you're Sandy's nodding her head again. Have you ever been extremely agitated and run out to engage with the world out there and found that your choices were not as effective as they might have been? Has anybody experienced that? What that means is when the mind is all excited, in the state of excitation, agitated, entropic, then our thinking is not as clear or as effective. Remember, action is based on thought. So if the mind is all agitated, our thinking is not going to be that clear and effective and coherent. And the actions that follow from that incoherent thinking are going to be likewise ineffective. So the best place from which to live life is from that settled state of mind. Now, I'll remind you, and I won't go through the whole story again, but in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, this archer warrior, is told by Lord Krishna to engage in battle after transcending, after settling the mind deep in peace, to engage, fight. Those were Krishna's words. Fight. After allowing the mind to be deeply settled. So, there is nothing antithetical about being at peace and being a powerful warrior. The world needs more powerful warriors today to stand up for justice. But to do so with love. To do so with love. Anger and hatred do nothing to further the causes that we seek to serve in the world. So, do you understand? I mean, am I being convincing? So, how do we let go? So now, I'll go back to my experience. So someone wrote an email to me, and I got triggered. And I was feeling very agitated. And the first thing I wanted to do is write an email back, right? I wanted to show him the error of his ways. EOW. So when we see a friend getting all frantic and wanting to engage in the world and strike back, just say EOW. Showing the world the error of its ways is generally not going to help, especially if we do it out of anger. And I've been very deeply engaged in this climate change battle for 4 or 5 years now. Things seem to be going backwards in many ways. So we don't necessarily see results right away. Sandy's nodding her head again. After 36 years, she's still waiting for results. So it doesn't guarantee any particular outcome. So there still is that element of letting God. We do our best. We act as we are called to do, out of love, in service. And then guess what? We have zero control over the outcome. Zero. None. Zilch. Zip. None. None. It's liberating. It's liberating to really own that truth. Because then, as the Bhagavad Gita says, we can focus on the action that is necessary and let God take care of the fruits of action. We have control only over action, not over the fruit of action. There's a famous activist. Her name is Vandana Shiva. And she's been doing this work for 50 years. And they say, how do you do it? How do you survive? Banging your head on the wall of injustice for 50 years. And that was her teaching. I give my best and I leave the rest to God. There's another phrase that I love very much that Maharishi used, which is, see the job, do the job, and stay out of the misery. See the job, do the job, and stay out of the misery. So, how do we let go then? Oh, did I finish that thought? No, I didn't finish my story, did I? Anyway, a friend from New York happened to call me back, dear friend, and he said, how you doing? I said, well, tell you the truth, I'm triggered. And I gave a brief description of the error of that other person's ways. And my friend said, well, maybe this is an opportunity for you to change, Jonas. He said, sounds like a wonderful opportunity for self-inquiry. And I felt so blessed that he would call me at that moment and remind me. You know, they say you teach what you need to learn, right? So please don't imagine that everything I say or anything I say that I've mastered. These are aspirations that I have and that I work towards, but not that I've mastered. But that doesn't mean that they're not worthy of others adopting them and striving as I do. We're all a team here. We're just a spirit. Remember, I've used that. We're all tied to the rope together climbing up a mountain. All of us. Sometimes one person's leading, sometimes another person's leading. Sometimes somebody slips and sometimes the others catch him or her. That is the beauty of this congregation. That is the beauty of this unity community. That you have chosen to lock arms and to climb the mountain together. And the mountain is the mountain of love and freedom. That is the mountain we're climbing. Love and freedom. And as we gain more and more of those divine qualities that really are our nature, as we live those more and more together, then we become more and more effective in our service to the world. Sometimes I see these, someone will post, I'll do a climate change post, and they'll write back, what the world needs is love. And I agree. Love is wonderful. Love in action is better. Love is essential. Peace is essential. But peace and love in action are better. And each of us find the way that we serve, the way we act. Some may go to a homeless shelter. Some may go to serve at a soup kitchen. Some may be arrested for a justice issue. Each of us will choose our own way. So letting go simply means to recognize that, my mind's at it again. My mind is at it again. That is the real error is right here. This is the real error and the only error that I really have the power to correct. And the error is not that I shouldn't do something or even that this thing out here is wrong. The error is in our resisting what is and to going into the story of condemning and judging others and separating ourselves from that love that is so crucial in our world today. And so we let go. Let's close our eyes for a second. I know we already had a short meditation. And we'll just do this silently, Nina. So bring your attention to something that tends to trigger you. Or maybe you got triggered this morning. Something in the world, something at our borders, something somewhere, something in your relationship with someone. And just see how your mind resists that. See how the thought of that creates agitation and discomfort. And now, just have the intention to let that thought go. Let that stream, that uncomfortable stream of thought go. And let it go some more. And let it go some more. And take a breath and let it go some more. And even more. And let it go some more. And notice that as you let it go, the mind becomes more settled, that peace becomes more present. And let it go some more. This is a choice that is always available to us. Whatever it is, whether we're worried about money, worried about our health, or the health of a loved one, the contraction and fear and stories that we engage in, that we indulge in, are not inevitable. They are a choice. They're a habit. They're a habit, but we can choose a different habit. It will take practice, but it will get easier and easier as we practice. So, before you open your eyes, we'll say one affirmation silently to ourselves. I choose peace. I choose peace. And if you like, you can remain with the eyes closed and listen to a song that Nina and Tom and I will do for you.